the holidays make so many of us fall into the same familiar pattern. You eat a little more than usual, you skip your workout, you promise yourself, don't worry, eat what you want, it'll be better in the new year. But health experts say that mindset sets us up for failure. Dr. John E. Lewis, PhD, founder and president of Dr. Lewis Nutrition, has a better way for us. We say good morning, Dr. Lewis.
Good morning, Ken. It's great to be here.
Good to have you on. Listen, I speak to you as a person who used to weigh 360 pounds, and I'm now about 185. And the one thing I always tell people, because they say, how did you get to 360? You don't wake up 360. You go to a party, you eat too much, you drink too much. Next day, you feel a little hungry, you have a little too much. You never get the reset, and you keep eating a little more and a little more and a little more. And your solution is to just don't do that. Right? Let's talk about poor lifestyle choices and how that impacts us.
Well, absolutely. You're so right. I mean, you don't just one day to the next go from 180 to 360. That's obviously true. So I think for a lot of people, especially in the holidays, we get on this sort of merry-go-round. It starts at Thanksgiving. It goes all the way through the New Year's, and you just go to one party after another. And of course, all of our typical parties are surrounded by food and alcohol and just so much excess. So I think the reality is people need to get on a mindset of, well, it's okay to have fun with my family and friends, but really your health is your most important characteristic. I mean, think about that for a second. We get so caught up in all the consumerism of the holidays of Christmas and buying and gifting, but yet where does health fall into that? It's like it is your most important characteristic. And yet so many times you just think about, well, I'm hungry. Let me just run through the fast food to get something to eat to satisfy this hunger. Let me skip the gym today because I've got too much to do. I've got too much work. I've got to take care of my kids. So I'll get to that the next day. But then the reality is as you were saying about your weight, you skip these things day after day, and days end up into months, end up into years, end up into decades. And this is where we find ourselves now with 75% of Americans are either overweight or obese. And get this statistic, 80% of Americans are now totally sedentary. So we have become the victims of our own worst devices in terms of all this convenience, all this technology. We were designed to move, whether you believe in evolution or creation or some combination. This thing, this machine that we have that we call our body is designed to move. And so when you're sitting around in a building all day and you're not moving, and then at the same time you're shoveling in calories, and then you're shoveling in even more when the holidays roll around, now you're really in the lurch in terms of not prioritizing your health and not taking steps to get healthy. And so it's really important. I mean, we're at a stage where we're spending $5 trillion per year in what we call a healthcare system. It's not healthcare, it's chronic disease management. And yet the Institute of Medicine, among others, says if we focused on good diet, and that's debatable, that's argumentative depending on your perspective, and we exercised every day, just those two behaviors, let alone some other things that we could do, but just those two behaviors would dramatically affect roughly 80 to 90% of the chronic disease occurrence. Think about that statistic for a minute.
It is so true. And I know some people who take it to the other extreme too. They say, well, come January, I'm going to follow this very strict regime. And when you plot something out that's too rigid, that could also backfire too, right? Because then you don't want to start. And I found that starting with little things like if you want to have a cookie during the holidays, take one cookie, have a bite, put it down. You don't need to make a meal out of a bag of cookies. Have a cookie and be done with it. And don't sit there and enjoy a whole bag, quote unquote, enjoy. I always get sick with a bag of cookies. You don't sit there and just keep eating the cookies. Focus on a lean protein, focus on a vegetable, and have the bite of the cookie and be done with it. Do your extra exercise.
I couldn't agree more. So yes, I mean most people are just not designed. We don't have the hard wiring to have this attitude of I'm going to be so rigid that I turn myself into a very moody, irritable, grumpy person. That's not the strategy that most people can handle. Look at bodybuilders. I mean, those are folks that have very, very strict regimens around their exercise, around their diet. The average person cannot tolerate that. So I agree with you. Like, have your little snack, have a little taste of something, but don't make it like the priority or make it like the dominant portion of your calories. Have that little piece, but keep on with what you were saying in terms of eating healthy. And again, whatever that is, that's argumentative for a lot of people.
I'm with you. Doctor, what is a website for more information?
drlewisnutrition.com. We're loaded with information about our research from my history at the University of Miami. I'm here to help people if they have questions about nutrition, dietary supplementation, exercise. It's a wealth of information. You can find us on the Dr. Lewis Nutrition channel on social media as well.
Awesome. Dr. Lewis, happy holidays.